Okay, what are the takeaways of the pugilistic endeavors? Yes, sir.
Attack, attack, attack. If you go on defense, you're going to get hit more. Yeah.
Correct. When I was a kid, although I was a biggest kid during grammar school and junior high school, but when I got into high school, everybody caught up with me. But the first thing that you learn in the hood is punch first and ask questions later. And so that has bode well, not just for when I used to get in a lot of fights, but when I used to in business. And it's focus on the few, not the many, and strike first. And you kids, based on the current economic environment, even if you weren't using QLA, if you were aggressive, you have an advantage. But being aggressive with QLA, you got a big fucking advantage. And God forbid we go through another 2008, 9, and 10, you will even have a bigger advantage. Because everybody is going to be drawing their horns in. Everybody's going to be cutting budgets back, etc. And they're going to be even more motivated sellers. And if you think, and they're motivated now. I give you the example of Brexit. Some people aren't selling because of Brexit. Some people are selling because of Brexit because they think it's going to get worse, maybe under the new potential prime minister, who's, I don't know if he's a mini Trump or not, but I mean, he certainly is on that end of the continuum for sure. For sure, yeah. Pardon? Well, a lot of people think he's in a... Yeah. But I mean, aggression is good. And we started doing this because about 5 seminars ago, we had 3 fights in one seminar during the week. And always after I go to sleep, and it's in the 2 guys, one guy, a skinny Englishman, was pushing a mixed martial artist guy, a cage fighting guy from Romania. And he says, I bet you couldn't do this. And finally, graduation night, the guy knocked him through a 1,800-pound antique chair, which they paid for. They ponied up the money the next day. But so we do it in the second day as we do it now. But I mean, aggression, we want you to be out there, be firm but fair. Be aggressive because you will be the only ones aggressively pursuing money that know how to get it. A lot of people go to say that they've never been able to get money out of a bank, et cetera, et cetera. But it's because, one, they would know a deal that stood on its own 2 legs, a deal that actually cash flow is covered, it covers debt service. And when you follow the templates and you talk that language and use that nomenclature to the financial institutions, it's magic. It just is bloody magic. And and when you get up, not at the mom and pop stage, the 1, 2, and 3 million pound deals, but when you get up above that and you're talking to somebody that's reasonably sophisticated on the other side, it'll be magic again. And the accountants and the lawyers, when you use the words in the templates, they'll realize it's not just the pretty board that you've got, but you know what you're talking about. As we saw today, what are some of the other takeaways about the boxing?
Don't put your guard down even for a second, even when you get out of breath.
Correct. Real boxers don't get out of breath. But I mean, and what happens is, because it's only 1 round, everybody goes out hell-bent for leather. Okay? If it was a 3-round thing and you'd feel each of sort of see how far his reach was, et cetera, et cetera. But now when you got 1 minute, you figure you can go 200%, but you still run out of gas, which, I understand. That's why when the YouTubers say that, 1 minute is not anything, what kind of test is that? And these 3 5-minute rounds. I've never been in a 5-minute round. I've fought 3-minute rounds, 5 rounds, and I was gassed by the end of the 3rd round. But 3 5-minute rounds, you got to really be in shape. Big time shape. But that's why we just do it to taste. But some of the guys that leave here, and the gals, like Margot, take up boxing. I don't like martial arts unless it's contact, full contact. But you can get hurt full contact. And so boxing, you can still get hurt, but most likely, although we had a broken nose last seminar, and we've had a couple of guys knocked out. And we had one guy knocked, he lost his eyesight for 3 hours because he had a pinched nerve if you get hit hard enough. And, but he got his eyesight back. But we haven't had any, serious injuries, and that's why. But the first time we did the boxing, we had 2 sets of gloves, 2 different size. We had 10-ounce gloves and 16-ounce gloves, and I didn't really notice. And the 10-ounce gloves, guys were kicking the shit out of the guys with the 16-ounce gloves. So then we rearranged that, so now everybody has the same size gloves. What else about boxing? Yes, sir.
So I had 3 takeaways. Number 1, my reach is a lot shorter than I thought. 2, it's better to hit than get hit. And number 3, keep your eyes on your target, because when you duck your head to protect yourself, you're going to get fucked.
Yeah. A couple of guys reverted to rabbit punches, which is, in a street fight, you hit them anywhere. But and so a couple of you, when you went down, the natural inclination of the other person was to jump on them, which that's not what this is, but that's your natural inclination. And because you have 50,000 years ago, you've got the caveman in you still. What QLA brings out is it brings the DNA up to the surface, or tries to do up to the surface, because you have the DNA. That's how we all started. If we were snowflakes 50,000 years ago, mankind would have died out. We'd be gone. So this is a new, and I think it's irreversible. It can't be turned around. But the more snowflake it gets, the better it is for us. And the more snowflake it gets, the better it is for us, because we're going to be the only guys putting the bankers on their back foot. And I've read you some emails that I get, and I get the responses from the YouTube guys that they say that they're using QLA to their benefit. What else about boxing?
Feels good.
Yeah.
Like Tyson said, he saw guys coming out bruised but smiling.
Yeah, I mean and everybody's got a plan till you get punched in the chops. I mean, and that goes without saying. I mean, even the professionals, and we've had a couple pros here, and they declined to box with you guys that came through the program because I said it wasn't fair. Just like the kid wanted to fight, but he just had surgery on Friday. I'm not using you as an example, but we don't need that. Of course, the first place I'd hit him is in his stitches. See, that's how I fight. So the first person I'd hit him right. So what else? You were going to say something.
The other person, they don't give a shit about how you feel about it.
Correct. And the bottom line is, even though you've been raised to be pleasers, the good news is when you can turn that corner and just be less of a pleaser, not even be a non-pleaser, be less of a pleaser, you're going to have an advantage. Both buying companies, dealing with banks, dealing with accountants and the lawyers. And the kid that we saw today live, he's a pleaser. But I mean, he's flipped. I mean, he doesn't sound the same. He doesn't even sound the same from the last fucking Zoom call he was on. Because success begets success. And the more success you have, the better you feel about yourself, the higher your self-esteem goes, the higher your self-confidence, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I can't wait till he does a deal. I mean, he's going to be like fucking Genghis Khan or something. But I mean, it's controlled aggression is what Mr. Grazos used to say about me when I was with the Onassis people. Controlled aggression. And I had trouble controlling my aggression when I was younger.
Yeah, that's the same here.
Yeah, I mean, I used to really be a fucking psycho. And so, and now I'm not trying to change my legacy like the other guys, but I'm more a kinder, gentler, not too much kinder, gentler, because but we want you to have controlled aggression, not to choke the people or hit them or anything. But I mean, the biggest takeaway you can get, or one of the biggest, is they're wasting your time. And for the older guys in the room, you're running out of runway. And you don't want them to waste your time. It's not their right to waste your time. But by the same token, you're not wasting their time. And that's why in one of the templates, it says, I know you don't want to waste, I don't want to waste your time, and I know you don't want to waste my time. The real is, I don't want you to waste my time, asshole. That's not what it says. It says, so the polite way is, I don't want to waste your time, and you don't want to waste my time. And they get that. Now, once in a while, you'll find somebody that's 90 years old, 92 years old, and they've got nothing to do and all day to do it in. Okay? Those, but you know they're candidates to sell. So you spend a little more time. Okay? I understand that. But don't make your table full of just 90-year-olds that you got to spend a lot of time with. Otherwise, somebody that is closing these guys down quickly will, purchase 3, 4, 5, 10 times more companies than you. And it's a numbers game. And they will appreciate that you're not going to waste their time. And when you get the hang of, when you look at the templates, when you get the hang of the seller's finance, and you get the hang that we can do it in a few days, and when you get the hang of we don't have to have the banks involved, and God knows what happens if it went to a credit committee. When you get the hang of that, I mean legitimately, because it's the truth, and then you'll do a lot more deals. And for those of you that are inclined to think of it this way, you're going to help a lot more people. You're going to help a lot more people. It's a great model. I still to this day don't understand why nobody does it. But Sally will tell you tonight when we have a drink in the pavilion. I was going to do this till 2000, the year 2000, because I figured I would be 55. Everybody's going to catch up. I started in 93. Everybody and their dog's going to, 2000 came and went. And remember that the satellites were going to fall out of the sky in 2000 because of the computer bullshit, and that didn't happen. And so then I said, I'll do it 5 more years, 2005. Nothing. And Sally said, I don't think anybody's going to do it, Dad. 2010. Now we're almost 2020. Now I'm pretty positive that nobody's going to do it. Unless some of you now that I trained 20 years ago are doing it and teaching. But other than that, there's nobody.
Nothing really changes.
Pardon?
Nothing really changes because you know how the sun comes out every day.
Yeah, well, I keep thinking that there's going to be another guy, selling something called something else other than QLA. But I saw, the guy Scott Bakula, the actor that's on NCI New Orleans. Okay, he used to have a program in the middle '90s called Quantum Leap. And I saw that program the day before I came up with the name QLA. I was attending a J. Abraham seminar. I paid $5,000 to go to, because I went to everybody's seminar before I got in the business. I want to see everybody's work. And I saw him in the Quantum Leap program where he used to do time leaps from different parts, from the 3rd century to the 50th century back and forth. It was called Quantum Leap. And so I saw Scott Bakula on NCI New Orleans the other night, and it brought it back to me how I came up with the name. And at the J. Abraham seminar, there was about 300-400 people in the audience, and he used to pass the mic to every other person, got to talk while they're there. So the mic it was going to go to an old lady next to me, and I took the mic out of her hand, and I stood up, and I said, my name's Dan Peña, and I'm the founder, inventor of, instantly came to me, QLA, Quantum Leap Advantage. And that's how I came up with the name of the methodology. But so whenever I see Scott Bakula, he's in his mid-60s now, if I had seen a Disney program that night, I don't know what or if I would have seen Daffy Duck or somebody, I don't know what I would have called it. But you do have an advantage. I didn't know how big an advantage. I only thought that in the beginning, and the reason why we didn't have that many people come through in the early years is because I thought maybe I was the only one that had the personality to make this work. We now know meatheads, 80 IQs, and I don't mean retarded if you're really retarded, but retards have made this work. And so now you're an example of who is capable, not just because you came to the seminar, but who is capable of doing these deals. And so far, we haven't seen any Einsteins up here. You're going to see one Einstein before the week's up, just to show you that Einstein can do it. But, you're going to just see regular guys. When you see Peter, the hotel magnate, everybody in the room will relate to him because he's just a regular guy, and he made it work. Just a regular Joe. His name's not Joe, but it's Peter. In a country that supposedly this can't work, and a former Iron Curtain, behind the Iron Curtain, Eastern Bloc country, which everybody tells me it can't work, which is not true. I made it work in Russia back in the 90s. Anything else about tonight? We're eating in there in the pavilion. I guess it's fish and chip night, right? Yeah.
It's steak.
It is steak.
Yeah.
God damn it, I knew. So they asked you for the order, what kind of steak you wanted? Fuck, okay. What do I know? Okay. So it's steak night. And we'll have more homework. Remember the homework I gave you this morning. And then plus the movie tonight. And my 5:30 is 6:30. And any questions of me before we break? Okay, guys, we'll see you at 7 o'clock. Thank you.